on each table. The lesson that we started last week was the ruku and the qawma or the qiyam after the ruku. And as you know, we mentioned the hamd, the dua, ربنا ولك الحمد, and we practiced it before we finished last week. The inshallah plan is that we finish before 8:15, because the Salat al-Isha is 8:15, so we'll finish before that inshallah. So 7a, 8a and 9a, these are all to do with the Salat. Once we finish 9a, 10a starts off with the du'as after the Salat, and also touches upon the rule upon the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So we learn today one more dua in the dhikr of the ruku. And after you have recited Sami Allahu liman hamida, Rabbana wa lakal hamd, there's also a second part to it, which is mil as-samawati wa mil al-ard wa mil ma baynahuma wa mil ma shi'ta min shay'in ba'd. What does this part mean? Mil is equal to filling of something. So here we are talking about the filling of the skies. Equal to filling of the skies. And mil is mentioned once in the Holy Quran. Once. Mil'a. As-samawat, the skies. You've seen this before. Sama is the singular, and the samawat is the plural. And this is mentioned in the Quran how many times? 310. Yes, samawat is the plural, you will see mostly. You also see sama as well, but samawat is the plural. Skies. Wa mil'a, mil'a is the same, equal to filling al-ard. Al-ard means the earth. The earth. And this is mentioned in the Quran 461 times. Wa mil'a al-ard. Wa mil'a ma, and the filling of what is baynahuma. Bayn is again made of two words, bayn and huma, between them, i.e. between the sky and the earth. The skies and the earth. Bayn is also mentioned in the Quran 266 times. And really what the dua or the supplication that you are making, again it is hamd, you are praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the first part, Rabbana wa lakal hamd, and then you add this part to it. You add equal to, i.e. the praise equal to the filling of the skies and equal to filling of the earth. Not just that, and filling of what is in between them, i.e. what is between the skies and the earth. This really shows that doesn't matter how much we praise Him, subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah, we can never fulfill the right of praising Him. And that is a fact. And there is also the second part. So this is the first part. وَمِلْءَ مَا شِئْتَ مِنْ شَيْءٍ بَعْدٍ, and the filling of what you will. شِئْتَ, you will. So we're asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that as you please, as you would like, you fill it with the praise. شِئْتَ, this is mentioned in the Quran how many times? 3 times. This is also in reference mostly to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but it could also be reference to anyone else. Min shay'in, from anything. Shay is a thing, from anything. Shay is singular, ashya is plural. And this is mentioned in the Quran how many times? 283 times. Ashya. So remember these are shay and ashya. Ba'adu, this is the first time you are seeing this word ba'adu. And it's similar in Urdu, means ba'ad means after. And this is mentioned in the Quran 198 times. Means shay'in, from anything after this. Ba'ad. And you'll understand what it means by this in this dua. So what are some of the lessons from this beautiful dua which has been taught to us by the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam? The first thing we are told that the words of this dhikr in particular are amazing. It is something we need to ponder upon. And the life of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Look at his life. He went through many, many trials in his life and tribulations. And it is said that he did not have even 2 full consecutive meals in his prophetic life. 2 consecutive meals, full consecutive meals in his life. In addition to that, he was persecuted for how many years in his Mecca? 13 years. And his city of Medina was attacked For many years after that, for 10 years, he was continuously on the attack. He was being attacked. Not just that, you keep in mind, keep all this in mind, that the tribulation he was going through, but yet look how he was expressing thanks to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at all times, whether he was in difficulties or whether it was he was in times of peace. Yeah, we are told, and this teaches us that no human being can reach even a fraction of what the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam has expressed just in these words. Yeah? His actions verily were far superior than his words. What he did was far greater than what he said. Alayhi salatu wasalam. So what does modern research say to us? This is a really scientific fact, that we must have this gratitude in our hearts for a peaceful and satisfactory life. This is what we are all aiming for. We're aiming for a peaceful life and a satisfactory life. We're always looking for that standard of living which we think is the best. So one of the experts in this field, he has suggested that in order to develop gratitude, we should try to imagine filling our bodies with the liquid of gratitude every night before we sleep, as if every part of our body is swimming, is flooded in gratitude. This is what we should do every night before we go to bed. We should always give thanks for the small blessings and for the big blessings, for the great blessings. Now let's look at the words of the Prophet ﷺ, that he wants to fill up the heavens and the earth and everything in between them with gratitude and praise of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is what he's asking us to do, and this is what he's doing himself. That's the first part. But the last part is even more amazing. Because after mentioning the heavens and the earth, what did he say? He says that he would like to thank and praise Allah by filling whatever Allah wills. So there's no limit to that. Whatever Allah wills is unlimited. There's no limit to that. That means, oh Allah, I know the heavens and the earth. This is my knowledge. This is how much my knowledge reaches. That is the capacity of my mind. Yeah, so if there is anything beyond that which pleases you or which praises you, I would love to fill that too with gratitude and praise. And Allah knows best what is beyond the heavens and the earth. So when we go to these events, these lifestyle events, how to become rich, how to become successful, how to have peace in our hearts, we should really have one, return, and that is return to what the Prophet ﷺ has taught us about gratitude. This really should be enough for us. So this is just the qiyamah, the qawmah. After we finish from praising him, we need to go into sujood. And this is the next part, the dhikr of the sajda. We mentioned the dhikr of the ruku, subhana rabbi. We've done this part, we've already learned this. The only difference is the last bit, al-a'la. And don't forget, when we did the adhan, we said Allahu Akbar, didn't we? Then we said Kabir, Akbar, Al-Akbar. Al-a'la is on the same form. Al-a'la is on the same form. Like we mentioned, Saghir, Asghar, Al-Asghar. Yeah, the small, the smallest, the most small. So Ali means the high. Yeah, Ali. So A'la means the most high. Al-A'la means the most exalted. Yeah, the most exalted that they can be. So the sajda, the message that we get from the sujood, is, as we know, this is the closest that you will be to Allah subhanahu in the sajda. And there are four things mentioned here. Yeah, and this is complete submission. This is the closest you can be to him in submission. What are the four things that we are being taught here in the sujood, in the sajda? Is that Allah is free from any defects. He is the Rabb. He is my Rabb. And He's also the Al-A'la, i.e. the highest, the topmost. And we are the lowest of low. We are the lowest position on this earth. And our Rabb is the highest on His throne, Jalla wa ala. And I mentioned the last bit here, that we are the most closest, we are the nearest to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the sajda. That's why when somebody, something good happens to them, or even if they go through a calamity, the natural reaction is to go into sajda. You know, when a football player, he scores a goal, Muhammad Salah, he usually goes to sajda. You know, this is really a show of gratitude to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And you know, through that, many people have started to inquire that what is this sajda? Why is he going into sujood? And, you know, the Liverpoolian are very, very proud of this. You know, they actually copy him. Maybe they're doing it for the wrong reason, but at least it's something that they are doing which is good from his side. So again, we're going into some research, modern research. Now, what does it tell us? It tells us that two things we need for a successful and happy life. Two things. We need to have this positive attitude, you know, at all times. Be positive. Whether good happens to you or bad, always you should say, Alhamdulillah, Allah has given me this for a reason, and there's a way in which I can go through it. And gratitude, to always be thankful to Him, Jalla wa ala. We have learned gratitude earlier, but every qiyam in rak'ah of our salat starts from Alhamdulillah. Yes, we always start with Alhamdulillah, and it ends with Walakal hamd. Yeah, this is when we do the tasbih after the ruku. So you know, when you complete the ruku, that's one rak'ah. So it starts with Alhamdu and it finishes with Rabbana Walakal hamd. So both these, the beginning and the end of the rak'ah, is with the hamd, the gratitude, and the supplication to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then when we speak about the tasbih, you know how many times we recite the tasbih in each rak'ah? It is 9 times. So how many times we read it per day? About 200 times. Just this tasbih, Subhana Rabbiyal Azim, Subhana Rabbiyal A'la. 200 times a day, roughly. But the most recited dhikr in Salah is Subhana Rabbi. Subhana, glory be to my Lord, my Rabb. So why does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us to repeat this? There's a reason for it. And that is to train the body and the mind to think and to live every day in the best way, with gratitude. So this is teaching us gratitude, teaching us to be thankful to Him, Jalla wa ala. You may ask, how does Subhana Rabbi train us? How does it train our minds and our bodies? Most important of them all is that Allah does not need any partners. He is free from partners. It also means that His commandments, like the salat, you know, the prayer, the fasting, the zakat, the hajj, these are faultless. Because if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala Himself is free from all defects, then so should be His commandments, i.e. His ibadat, like the salat, etc. They're also free from any defects and faults. The final thing is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you know, has blessed us, has given us things to test. Yeah, He has given us many things, many blessings, like the human body, the nose, you know, the face, you know, the family, the country, all of this situation. These tests are also faultless. Yeah, so when you are tested in yourself, in your human body, in your mind, etc., these are also what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us to pass through these tests without complaining to Him. What should we say? Or what should we ask Allah? Is that, oh Allah, please solve our problems, please solve my problems, and correct my condition in order to achieve success in this world and in the hereafter. This should be our response to any calamity or any test. And again, while we are reciting the tasbih, you know, especially the one in the sujood, we are bowing down to Him and we're putting our face on the earth and we say, Rabbi, with love and affection. This is as if we are saying, oh Allah, I am totally satisfied and don't have anything to complain about. So if we do this tasbih in this manner, we can develop a very, very strong positive attitude. Yeah, and if you look at the modern experts, they can only give you 1% of this, of a strong positive attitude. Remember, what Allah has done and what He will do is perfect. the situation we are in either is a test and or due to our own faults. It could be either one of the two. Either because of our own deeds, or it could be a test for us. We should pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help us to do our best in whatever situation we are in, or change it the best way He thinks is good for us. And this is the secret of the success. This was quite a long presentation. Try to remember the main parts from it and try to practice with your partner, Subhana Rabbi, and try to discuss what it means for you as an abd or abida, that when you are doing the sujood and when you are reciting these words, what does it actually mean to you? So, allimu uktubu. Practice between the two of them. I'll go back to the main as well. Does everyone have a partner? Yeah. I'll just have you. You come to the front, you can join Brother Nabil. Young man, you come here. Sit next to Nabil. Bismillah. Could you come this side, young man? Come sit here with Nabil sir. Nabil sir, let him sit with you. Huh? You can come again. Bring your chair, sit with the come.
You read the book?
No.
What do you want to read?
Pardon?
What do you read?
Read it. Mal
Mil.
Just try. I know it's a long one. Just try to remember whatever you can from it.
نواتي من التي وملء ما بينهما
You have a warm, are you okay?
Meaning. Meaning.
in between them and filling what is
This is right, left, right.
equal to filling of the skies and equal to filling of the earth and filling what is in between them.
وملء ما شئت من شيء or filling all those things what you will.
Okay, class. I know that was a long presentation. We try to remember the main points, especially the ones about trials and tribulation and the bounties which He has given us and how we should really reflect upon them in good times and also in bad times. Okay, so we finish off this this presentation, 7a, with some notes about tasbih and how it relates to success. It may look at something very, very small by saying Subhana or Subhanallah, Alhamdulillah, but what is the secret of tasbih? What we are asking Allah to help us all to accept every test of our life. We know we're going to go through many tests. This is a promise from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He's going to be testing you. He will test some of us many, many times. Others He might leave for a while. But this is something which has been promised. Yeah, and life is full of tests. So we should say to Him, Ya Allah, help us to accept each test and not to complain regarding them, not to complain regarding those tests. We should never say, why did this happen to me, or why this always happening to us, etc. This is a show of, what is a show to, that if when you say this, when you say that, oh Allah, why me, why, this is being very, very ungrateful. This has been ungrateful. This is the opposite of gratitude. So let's check amongst ourselves, let's evaluate and analyze our own life, that how many times do we complain about our color of our skin, our nose, our face, our physique, our family, the weather. It's raining. How many times have you heard people saying, "Oh, it's raining, it's miserable, it's gloomy." Even the country that we live in, we always complain about where we are. So evaluate how many times do we show ungratefulness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So for this we need to plan that we will never do this again. We will try to stop. When we are about to complain, just stop and really analyze. Do I really need to complain about these small things, about the weather, about how I look, how people think I look? It doesn't have to matter as long as you are content with yourself. And propagate this amongst your family, amongst your children, amongst your husband, your wife, whoever who's around you. Tell them that be happy in whatever shape and form Allah has brought you to this dunya. You should be happy for that, and you should always thank Him, Jalla wa Ala. Don't forget, very, very important, we always finish off on this point, the vocabulary. There are many new vocabulary that you have learned in the ruku and the sujood. Go over them in your own time as a homework, just a few minutes, and check how many times each word is repeated in the Quran. And that will give you an idea how far we have got in that barometer, in that scale that we always look back to. Inshallah, we move on to the next slide very, very quickly, which is a slide 8A. I think you should have it in your packs. Just have a quick look here. Does everyone have notes? Is anybody who hasn't got notes on this side, on the sister side? You all have notes on hand. Okay, that's fine. Okay. Any questions regarding ruku and sujood before we carry on? Because we're going to now do tashahhud, the last part of the salat. Any questions regarding the ruku and the sujood? Yes, Brother Nabi.
When you get off from sujood, in between, can you read?
Yes, so there is actually a narration which says that, when you get up from the sujood, when you sit down, you shouldn't rush back to sujood. You can say, Rabbi ighfirli, Rabbi irhamni. There are many things. It's like a dua. This is a time for dua. Similar, when you are standing, it should be a similar amount of time. So when you come up from sujood, you stay for about 5 seconds, 6 seconds. You say, Rabbi ighfirli, or Rabbi irhamni. Whatever dua you say it. Yeah, it's fine. There's no issue with that. Yeah. Anything else? This will be the last part for the salat, which is the tashahhud. And this is not a very long section, inshallah. In this lesson, we will learn 30 new words which occur in the Quran, almost 1,454 in this lesson, inshallah. By the end of this 8th lesson, you would have learned 93 words which occur in the Quran almost 27,536 times. Now don't forget the bottom, which we always remind ourselves, 4,500 words which are repeated almost 78,000 times. Don't forget your homework. We mention this every time. Your study, your listening, and try to teach others what you have learned. This is the best way to remember what you have learned in class. And the dua which we recite at the beginning of each lesson, Rabbi zidni ilma, Allahumma allimna, or whatever you know from the du'as of the Prophet ﷺ regarding knowledge and help in seeking knowledge. So the tashahhud, this is called the tashahhud. And again, the tashahhud starts with at-tahiyyat. At-tahiyyatu lillahi was-salawatu wat-tayyibat. I just want you to all repeat this after me in pairs. At-tahiyyatu, at-tahiyyatu, all types of worship by tongue.
All types of worship by tongue.
Yeah. Lillahi, are due to Allah.
Are due to Allah.
Was-salawatu, and all types of worship by body, by a body.
Worship by body.
Wat-tayyibatu, and all types of worship by spending wealth. Shall you understand each word when we come to the explanation? So tahiyyah, and the plural is tahiyyat. And this comes in the Quran 6 times, tahiyyat. Yeah. And it means all types of worship by recitation, by the tongue, dhikr, tasbih, yeah, whatever is done by recitation, etc. Tahiyya is similar to the feminine words muslimah, niyyah, ayah. Just on the side, it's got a little note there. Tahiyya is the singular, tahiyyat is the plural. Lillah, we have covered this last time. So where did we cover lillahi? Alhamdulillah, very good, yes. Was-salawatu is the plural of salah. Salah, yeah, salawat. Yeah, so this usually refers to the worship by the body, as the physical worship. Wat-tayyibat is the plural of tayyibah. Tayyibah, and this tayyibah is mentioned again 46 times in the Quran, and this means all types of worship by spending in the path of Allah, by wealth. The worship of spending money, like sadaqah, zakat, etc. So what is the message from the first line of the tashahhud? Is that we are saying it to ourselves and we're reminding ourselves, and we're actually praising Allah by saying that all types of worship by the tongue, the salah, the dhikr, the tilawah, da'wah, nice words, preaching, guiding, suggesting, these are all types that you could do with your tongue. Yeah? All types, the second part was salawat, all types of worship by the body, i.e. the salat, the sawm, yeah, the training of the self, of the nafs, helping each other, educating, to go for da'wah and propagation are all for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is what we are saying, yeah? Everything that we do is for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then finally we finish off with the third part, the third type of worship, that all types of worship by spending of the money, wealth, i.e. the hajj, the zakah, sadaqat are all for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is what we are repeating and reminding ourselves. Again, so we are reminded here by the hadith, by the narration of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He said that 70,000 people will enter Jannah, yeah, without being taken to account, or they will not be punished. He then described some of their attributes. Now, who will these people be? Has anyone heard this hadith before? You must have heard this hadith. It's a famous hadith. Yeah? Sisters, have you heard this hadith before? No? Okay. So, he's describing these people, these 70,000. Among other things, he said that they will keep their trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They will keep their trust. They will always rely on Him for everything and anything. So on hearing this, Uqasha ibn Mihsan, he was a Sahabi, he stood up and he requested that, pray to Allah that make me from amongst them. The Prophet ﷺ says to him that, yes, you are from amongst them. Then another man stood up and asked the same thing. The Prophet at this point said, Uqasha has surpassed you. He has surpassed you. So he was the first one to ask, and Allah granted him this wish. This is narrated in Al-Bukhari and Al-Muslim. What does this hadith teach us? It teaches us that the moment we hear of any good news or anything good, we should ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for it. Or else someone else will grab that by chance. And so with every dua, we must check our past and draw a plan for the future. This is normal how we make the dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So why are these three acts of worship mentioned here? So we are asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that all these types of worship, these three types of worship, help us to complete them, to participate in them. Help us. It's only with your help that we are able to complete them. And then we need to ask ourselves that how are we using our tongue? Are we using it in a good way or bad way? Are we using it in a beneficial way or in harm, or harming others? How are we using our brain? How are we using our aql, our intellect? And most importantly, how are we spending, or where are we spending our wealth, our money? After analyzing everything, make a plan to do these things properly and to propagate the idea. The three things which I mentioned in tahiyyat, in the tashahhud, The message from there is that analyze what are you doing and try to correct them. Alim, so teach this to your partner and see what you can get from this first line. Bismillah.
التحيات لله والصلوات
الصلوات
والطيبات.
الطيبات.
All types of worship by tongue
All types of worship by tongue
are due to Allah,
are due to Allah,
and all types of worship
and all types of worship
by body,
by our body,
and all types of worship
and all types of worship
by spending wealth.
by spending wealth.
Should the first one do?
Read it. التحيات لله والصلوات والطيبات
والطيبات.
طيبات. All types of worship by tongue are due to Allah, and all types of worship by body, and all types of worship by spending wealth.
Okay, class. I hope this has really, made you think that when you're reciting the tashahhud, you will look at it differently, inshallah, from today onwards. So the second part, or the second line, is really sending peace and salutation upon the refined Prophet. So repeat these words. As-salamu, peace. As-salamu, as you know, means peace, yeah? Alayka, be on you, be upon you. Ayyuhan Nabiyyu, O Prophet. So salam, is this the first time we are encountering this word? Salam, it means peace. And how many times is it mentioned in the Quran? 42 times. Yes, salam, salamun alaykum. This is a greeting of the Ahlul Jannah, the people of Jannah. Salam. So, again, in salam we have the alif lam, which means all, peace and the peace, all peace. Alhamdu, we have an as-salam, which means all types of peace. Don't forget, when the alif lam comes in, it makes it more, there's more emphasis on the word. When we say assalamu alaikum, so we are saying to the other person that may you be safe, i.e. may Allah protect you from all unpleasant and harmful things. And this is really the best of greetings, that you are basically giving him security, salama. So you don't go to someone, you say assalamu alaikum, then you punch him or you slap him. This is going opposite to what you're supposed to be saying to him. When somebody hears the word assalamu alaikum, they should feel comfortable. Sometimes I was reading a few years ago, they used to have phone calls in order to check that if it's a Muslim house, they used to say assalamu alaikum. And people used to be scared to reply back to them in case they sent something in the post. This was a few years ago when we had this that extremism, the extreme right, far right. So I would say to them, yes, if it's an issue that you might be in danger, then don't reply, just remain quiet. And if you're not sure that this person is really genuine, a Muslim, and sometimes you have these cold callers ringing you, and if you say you're Muslim, they'll try to sell you something which is in line with your belief, etc. So just try to be wise when you're using this word. But when you are amongst yourself, there's no harm. You shouldn't be afraid, you shouldn't be ashamed. Rather, it's encouraged to spread salam at all times. Alayka, again, is made from two parts, the ala and kaf. And when you come to grammar, you know what this kaf means. It means upon you or on you, alayka. So those 2, 4, 6, and then the 7, these are all different forms of ala. So you have alayhi, alayhum, or alayhim, alayka, alayya, alaykum, alayna, alayha. These are different types of ala, which you can use for different, for the masculine, feminine, for the plural and singular, and for all of us, for me, for you, for us. Ayyuhan is ayyuhan nabiyyu. So you have ya and you have ayyuha. Ya ayyuha. So these are all sometimes used on their own or they're used together. Ya ayyuha. Here is only ayyuha. But sometimes you will have ya in front of ya ayyuhan, ya ayyuhal ladina, ya ayyuhan nabi. All these are things which you might see. O Prophet. And Nabi is, again, we are facing this word the first time. Nabi is one prophet. Anbiya, you probably heard, is many prophets. And this is mentioned how many times in the Quran? 75 times, yeah. 75. Anbiya, the prophets. There's a difference between Nabi and Rusul, which we will come to later on, inshallah. Does anyone have an idea what the difference between Nabi and Rusul is from the sister side?
Rasul is a specific, like Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and Nabi is like all prophets.
Okay, that's good. That's actually a good answer. Yes, Hadith, anyone from the sisters want to add to that? There's a small difference between a Rasul and a Nabi. Messenger and a prophet, yes. So what's the difference between messenger and a prophet? Okay. Good, yeah. Anyone from the back? No? Hands are up in the back, or is it just patting someone? Okay. Yeah. Haji Sahib, you gonna?
And soon he got the books.
Yeah.
And Nabi, all other Nabis.
Yes, there's a difference. Yeah. So Nabi, there were many prophets sent, but not all of them came with a book, with a new way of life, with a new Sharia. So that's why our Prophet ﷺ was also a prophet and a messenger, because he came with a new Sharia. Some other prophets, they didn't come, they just continued with the previous way of or book. Yeah, definitely there's the four main books, yeah, Zabur, Torah, Injil, and Quran. But there's also other messengers who actually came with no book, but they came with the Sharia, with a new way of life. Very good. Just a brief background for you. But here we are saying we are calling upon the Prophet ﷺ in Salat. And there's a difference of opinion of whether you can call him outside of the prayer. You cannot, whether you can say the same thing outside of prayer, because in the prayer you're in a special place. Yeah, the prayer is no ordinary situation. So don't get surprised if you hear people debating this issue. That are you allowed to call the Prophet ﷺ outside of the prayer? Okay, ayyuhal nabi, then you go to the next part. So just repeat this two words. Wa rahmatullahi, and the mercy of Allah. Wa barakatuhu, and His blessings. Whose blessings? Allah's blessings. Yes, so don't forget. Okay, so rahmah, again, first time we are seeing this word, it means mercy. And how many times is it mentioned in the Quran?
114.
114. Yeah. Rahmah, you see this many times. Rahmah. There are more verses of rahmah and love. This is something, the misconception that the Orientalists and the non-believers they have. They think that every ayah has something about adab, punishment, and about all these negative things. If you look at the Quran as a whole, majority of the ayahs are based upon the good deeds, the good ending, the Jannah. Not the opposite, not the horrible things like the Jahannam. So this is a misconception which you will hear a lot. And this really responds direct to that. Wa rahmatullahi, and the mercy of Allah. Upon who? Who is sending the rahmah upon?
The other Muslim.
Let's go back. So we're saying, Assalamu alaikum, peace be upon you, O Prophet. Then we are saying, and the mercy of Allah and His blessings upon who? Yeah, so don't mix it up. So we are asking Allah that you are the one who can send peace upon him, and you can send the rahmah upon him. Yeah? So don't mix this up. Yeah, wa rahmatullah, and the mercy of Allah. Barakah, it means blessings. We always ask for barakah when we have, anything that we do, and barakah is from the same root word, barakah, and it is the singular is barak, but the plural is barakat, and the plural is used here. And this is mentioned how many times in the Quran? 3 times. His blessings, barakat. So barakah and barakat. But when we say barakat to who, whose blessings? Allah's blessing. Allah's blessings, yeah, very good. And His blessing, i.e. The blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay, we quickly do some messages from this part and then we'll stop for the Salat in 5-10 minutes. So go back to the beginning of the tashahhud. Let the adhan finish. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله. لا حول ولا قوة. الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله. إنك لتغفر. So when we started at the tashahhud, we're asking Allah that we are performing the 3 types of worship, i.e. by the tongue, body and spending. So we just ask ourselves, who was the best example in this? Yeah, so it was the Prophet ﷺ himself, yeah. So he also taught them to us and how we should do them. Therefore we are praying for 3 things for him as well. What are we praying for him? So don't forget, he's taught us how to do dhikr, how to use the tongue in the remembrance of Allah, how to pray the salat, and how to spend wealth in his path, in the path of Allah. We are asking Allah to protection for him from any harm. We are asking Allah for His blessings upon him. May Allah take care of you with love and increase in blessings, favors, bounties, and goodness, or barakah. These 3 things are in a good order, nice order. For example, if you plant a flower seed, you want to protect it, yeah, from insects and etc. Then you give it some water, which is a reference to, could be the rahmah, and then you give it, when you give it the barakah, you give it all the extra looking after that a plant or a seed needs. Without protection, blessing and increase, barakat will be lost. Yeah? There will be no barakah. So without protection, there will be no barakah. That's why we should always ask for these 3 things: rahmah, salam, rahmah, and barakah. 3 things at all times. Assalamu alaikum. When we say salam to someone, we should also say wa rahmatullahi wa barakah. This is the extended version, which we should try to say as much as we can. That we are saying, may Allah protect you from any harm. Again, alif lam means all types of protection. And may Allah protect your deen, your iman, your health, your wealth, your business, your job, whatever you are doing. And may Allah also save you from deficiencies, defects, and undesired situations or things. After protection, then Allah will bless you and increase those blessings after the protection. So this is really a great way. It is in comparison to just saying hello, hi, how are you, good morning, good evening. Yeah, it is really, there's more barakah in saying assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Don't be shy to spread it amongst yourselves. Furthermore, we get reward by saying this. It's not just saying it, there's a reward for it as well. And the reward for practicing is sunnah. So again, practice this bit, and then we have finished this slide. So next week we will go on to 9a, which will be the last slide. I just want you to just take a few minutes to practice this Assalamu alayka ayyuhan nabiyyu wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And what messages comes out from these two lines. علم.
السلام عليكم أيها
Yeah.
النبي ورحمة الله وبركاته.
إخلاص.
السلام عليكم. Peace be upon you. أيها النبي or Prophet ورحمة الله and the mercy of Allah وبركاته and his blessing.
What's 106? What?
To read it.
Say. Qul, it should be qul. So it shouldn't be repeated. So I think just type it. Just get rid of it. Yeah, get rid of it. I'll let the sister know.
أيها النبي ورحمة الله وبركاته. Peace be upon you, O Prophet, and the mercy of Allah and His blessings.
You mentioned the Quran, Alhamdulillah, came to the Muslims.
Yeah.
The Christians were delivered the
Injil, the Bible, yeah.
Injil. The Jews were given the
Torah.
Torah and
The Zabur.
Zabur.
Dawood alayhi salam was given the Zabur before Musa alayhi salam. Dawood alayhi salam.
Injil, Torah,
These are the main four books.
What religion was that then?
Which one?
The Zabur.
Zabur was before the time of Musa alayhi salam. So he came to a specific people. Yeah, Dawood and his, what was his? وَلَقَدْ آتَيْنَا دَاوُودَ وَسُلَيْمَانَ. These two prophets that came with the Zabur. And they came at a time, again, where magic was quite common. So Suleiman had the jinn in his possession, under his command. So this is really a special time which he came with. We don't have any traces of the Zabur. We have some remnants of the Zabur. The Torah is present with the Jews. The Injil has been divided into the Old Testament, which is part of the Torah as well. And you have the New Testament.
Injil.
Yeah, Injil is the Bible. Yeah. So Injil is the Bible, which was again divided into two. And there are many versions of the Injil as well. So we don't have the original Injil with us, unfortunately, because it's not present. Any questions before we finish off? Next week we will go on to the next. We're going to stop here. We're going to do the next bit of the Assalamu Alayna.
Yeah.
We're going to do this inshallah. We'll finish off. It's slide number. Assalamu Alayna, which is slide number 37. Any questions before we finish? Sister asked a very good question about the four books. What are they? Who do they come to, and what's the background? Torah, you still have, they have different versions of it available. When the Jews, they read from it. It's in the Hebrew language. After namaz, you can finish, inshallah. The lesson has finished in the next few minutes. So after the salat, you could go. Next week, so we have decided that the time will be 7:15, 8:15. Just so that it's easy for those who have school, those who have work next day, so they can come and join us in time, inshallah. Jazakallah khair for coming, and we'll see you all next week, inshallah. Subhanallah bihamdihi, subhanallah al-azim, ashhadu an la ilaha illa Allah, wa astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.